Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars for the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan, while the Nintendo Switch remake should be on its way. So, last time we have basically managed able to continue exploring the forms of the Sunken Ship. In addition to that, we also managed able to solve some bit of puzzles here and there, to able to actually not only able to actually access to separate letters, in order to able to actually give us a full password, which as it turns out is pearls. And then in addition to that, we also managed able to beat the most ginormous blooper we've ever seen throughout the entire Mario series up to this point. And even then though, about the fact that thanks to Peach's healing system, that means about the fact that we have no issues with the forms of trying to able to deal with some tougher battles here and there. And in addition to that though, about the fact that we also pick up quite a few items here and there. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So today, for this video, is about the fact that we're also able to say this right now, we can able to actually finish up everything in terms of the forms of the Sunken Ship. And because of this though, before we get into more details onto this specific topic though, obviously we need to take care of enemies first, just in case we do need to able to grind as many of those experience points as much as we possibly can. So, but either way, oh nice, I got attack up, so either way. So yeah, a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that's what appears to be about the fact that today's date, of course, there is the 31st of July today, in this case in 2023 today, and for that matter, we're now on to the final day of July before we move on to August. So because of this though, despite the fact that as far as what Silver the Hedgehog has already mentioned about this during the course of the Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania Let's Play, that he found the actual month not the best, but as a result, there are some good stuff here and there, as far as he mentioned this before, that Pikmin 4 is definitely the highlight in terms of the forms of this month in general, and especially noticeable about that particular point where, obviously recently during the forms of, remember when Silver has already mentioned about this before, that yeah, we did somehow manage to win to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and oh no, I had a really great time with the film so far. Again, I'm probably not going to get into any spoiler territory right there, just because it's the newest film in the series, so I don't feel like trying to able to give us a massive shout out for certain spoilers for the time being. So either way, and also I just realized that we somehow got our level up for Mellow, so yeah, that's actually super dope and everything, so. And as you can tell, we somehow got trespassed by the forms of those enemies here. So in some cases though, something tells me we do need to able to take care of them before we take on the, I would possibly, by saying this, it was the next boss coming up. So either way, so here we have ourselves these enemies right here, and these are known as Banda Red. And basically, Banda Red does have 120 HP, and they drop about 10 coins, if I was assuming so anyway. And if you kill them, you get about 18 experience points, if I was assuming so anyway. It seems that my luck is actually getting pretty good up to this point, especially noticeable I keep on getting missed for the sake of the forms of gain attacks by the forms of enemies as far as this is concerned, which I guess that's a good thing, so. But honestly, these guys are not much of a challenge, especially noticeable thanks to if you managed able to keep on levering up your status and all that stuff, then you should be good to go. Oh yeah, just like the forms of how it does in one of those rat enemies, sometimes that the bandit enemies, they sometimes run away during the battle, so. But anyway, we got ourselves the mushroom out of the chest, so meaning about the fact that we should be all set, even though I was expecting to able to save that for later, but I wasn't exactly paying attention, so. Because, like I said before, it's about the fact that eventually at some point, by the end of the Forms of the Sunken Ship area, that we will come across into our next boss fight for sure, so either way. But before we get into that though, we need to take care of the rest of the forms of those Banded Red, right here. So just in case we can able to just take care of these guys. So, anywho though, aside from the fact that I've already mentioned about the fact that, well, the only good parts about the forms of this month in particular for me though, which appears to be not only we finally get ourselves Pikmin 4 at long last, but also about the fact that we've now managed able to realize that we actually had an incredible, enjoyable time seeing the films of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Especially notable, I cannot wait able to actually see Part 2 until next year. Assuming, of course, about the fact that at this point in time, that as far as what Silver the Hedgehog has already mentioned about this before, at the moment there's going to be a lot of writer strikes going on at the moment, which as a result, well, potentially speaking, it has somehow managed to delay quite a few films. Not so much every single films throughout, but either way though, it has been about quite a while since I actually mentioned something like this. So, anyways though, so let's just go ahead and sort something out for not only we can able to, you know, use the mid mushroom for Gino, so just in case he needs to be at full health at all times, because, you know, we're about to be entering into the next boss fight. So in some cases, we'll go ahead and use a combination of not only we still need to able to keep Mario, because he's the leader after all, in addition to that, Mello will be joining the fight, and also Bowser will be joining the fight as well, just in case about the fact that I was expecting if I was trying to use Princess Toadstool or Princess Peach, but that can wait until for later, because something tells me about the fact that there's going to be another boss fight coming up later, which we're probably not going to address that in a moment. So, either way, there's our next story piece, which this time would appears to be darker blue color, so hopefully we'll try to able to claim that once we're able to take care of the next boss fight in a game, so something tells me about the fact that we'll accept the challenge. So, here we go then. And for this particular boss fight, as far as for that particular boss's name is concerned, oh jeez, we're not doing too bad at first glance, but hey. So, in addition about the fact that we actually come across into Bandetta Blue, but also about the fact that we actually come across to Johnny. So here's Johnny, folks. But anyways though, for Bandetta Blues, obviously about the fact that they are basically the equivalent to the red counterparts, except the blue ones do have more HP. For instance, Bandetta Blue now actually has 150 HP, and they don't drop coins, but if you do kill them, you get about 20 experience points, if I was assuming so anyway. And as far as Johnny is concerned, basically he does have about roughly 820 HP, and then if you kill him, basically though is about the fact that you get about 50 coins, and in addition to that you get 90 experience points if you finish him off. So, assuming of course if my numbers wasn't exactly the most accurate thing in the world, but still. But either way though, that might be saying something, so. Alright, so let's just go ahead and use the masher onto Johnny. So, either way though, and I think later on throughout the entire fight, I think we might come across into a next phase where basically we have to go on for one-on-one fights. I'm presuming so anyway, so. And exponentially speaking though, is about the fact that we're actually getting, you know, very close. So, anyway, let's talk about the films of that particular uploading schedule updates for the sake of the films of not only for this game in particular, but as you probably already know about the fact that, well, obviously that at some point in the beginning portion of August, obviously that Tiana might able to actually be ready to go back onto Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe after a few weeks or months or so. So, but either way though, yeah, relatively speaking though about the fact that hopefully she'll be very glad able to actually get back into the game for doing a Let's Play department. I mean, sure about the fact that, well, as far as completionist goes, it might be felt a bit too much for her, but I'm sure that she'll explain more details about that at some point on Wednesday. So, but either way though, and something tells me we're now on to the next phase, where basically we have to go on one-on-one fights, so obviously he's going to be forcing Mario to able to take him on. So in some cases, with your partner members in mind, for both Mallow and Bowser for example, well, they start to watch you fight. So yeah, it's just a matter of the fact that you have to able to take him down as quickly as you possibly can. So but either way though, yeah, as a result of that kind of stuff though, this battle's not too hard. Although, later on, that's what the boss fights gets a bit extremely difficult throughout, especially considerably about the fact there's a good reason why you do need to level up at all times, so just in case you do need to get a bit stronger with your physical attacks as well as special attacks essentially. And let's not forget ourselves with the amount of HP, or hard points if you will, that it might actually help you throughout, so... Okay, so he's almost down, so... Sometimes I will admit though, I'm blocking time at this point, but I'm sure we're able to actually finish him off like so, even though despite the fact that I'm pretty sure that his defense is slightly on the higher side, but either way though, I think this could be it. Yep, this is it. And with that, we are basically done with Johnny. So in some cases we only got 44 experience points, which... Again, I wasn't expecting if my numbers is not exactly accurate with all that. You know what I mean with the BIOS for the sake of the forms of that particular experience points you're going to be having and all that. But with that, there's our 5th star piece. And then I think if I recall correctly, we're done with the Sunken Ship. I have no idea why Bowser just looks like that every time whenever we claim the star piece right there, which, either way though, because Bowser doesn't really care about Mario though. But anywho, yeah, we've now got 5 star pieces, so we only got 2 more to go. So, but either way though, yeah, I'm actually very curious to know of what's going to be happening, so... Of course, you can leave this particular point if you want, but let's talk to Johnny quickly, so just in case about the fact that, well... He's obviously about the fact that, well, he was quite impressed for, well, I don't know about you, because it's been about 3 days ago, as I said before, since I've last played this game for sure. But anyway, now we've actually done with that, so let's go ahead and leave the Sunken Ship by simply able to hop onto this little spring. And from here, we can now able to go back into the Seaside town. So hopefully it should be all better for this point, right? Well, as it turns out, there's actually 2 different methods on this point, and because of this though, I'm actually going to be showing you the best method for this, and something tells me that they really want something extremely badly, so because of this though, yeah, it looks like about the fact that they're trying to go after the star piece all this time, so because of this though, it feels like we're not going to be able to keep that star piece for a long period of time until later on anyway. So let's just go ahead and choose OK, because obviously about the fact that once you've done so already, then you're able to actually get something rewarding if you manage to give the star piece to those illness toads townspeople or something. But if you choose the opposite selection, which appears to be forget it, I don't think you're able to actually get something rewarding if you select forget it. So because of this though, yeah, that's what essentially I'm gonna do here. So but either way, I was expecting if I was trying to save here, but first off, let me go ahead and go back onto the other parts of the actual map. Like, for instance, we'll go back to Rose Town quickly, even though I have no idea why I was going to able to actually go in there in the first place. But either way, though, just in case we do need to take a nap until we get our health restored. So just in case about the fact that this is where the point where the battle itself is going to get pretty tough. And what is this on the left side of the bed? Is that supposed to be Link from The Legend of Zelda? Oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. Especially noticeable, that is actually one of those cool Nintendo references from the likes of the forms of this game. So I'm really hoping on the Switch remake we're able to include that, which I think that will be the case. So alongside with the forms of that Samus Aran doll that you find in the forms within a booster tower. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool that we actually stumbled across into the second Nintendo themed reference in this game so far, which I think is actually pretty awesome to me anyway, which obviously continues that tradition during the forms of it not only in Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, specifically on the Game Boy Advance version, not so much on the 3DS version, if I was assuming so anyway. But even then, it's been about, I would classify for saying it's been about almost 5 years ago since I actually have last played Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga as a remake on the 3DS, but that's just because about the fact I was being busy playing, you know, the Nintendo Switch a lot, especially noticeable back in June Phones in 2018, that I played so much of Super Mario Odyssey, and especially noticeable with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and especially noticeable with Sonic Mania, and especially noticeable with other titles as well, like Kirby Star Allies, and you name the rest. So, and speaking of which though, is about the fact that there was a game called Xenoblade Chronicles 3, actually came out 1 year ago. So as a result, yeah, I can't believe by saying this, is about a year ago since when the, well, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 first came out on the Nintendo Switch, even though that I remember that it was supposed to be released during the forms of September last year, but of course they decided to push it forward, so just in case we can able to actually get the actual sales boosted for the sake of the forms of when the actual game came out during the forms of the summer season, so I found it was quite intriguing. So, despite the fact that I didn't exactly get the game in day one because I was busy purchasing some other stuff in general, so based off from one of my favorite franchises with, you know, Mario and Klonoa and Pac-Man and you name the rest. And also something worth noting for is about the fact that this is the reason why this video took so long to able to get up and running, essentially, but that's just because about the fact that, once again, our laptop just keeps lagging all the time, and to make matters worse, similar to the forms of how it does it for exactly the same situation as the forms of Sonic Frontiers, and maybe it's possibility of the forms of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania as well, that our commentary gets glitched up. So because of this though, I'm still hoping that will not be the case, for the sake of the forms of Super Mario RPG up to this point. So as you can tell about the fact that I've recently managed able to switch over to, I would say Bowser to Princess Toadstool, because something tells me for this particular upcoming fight, it will be pretty tough though, especially noticeable it does have this particular gimmick where basically it's about the fact that, well, you see why as soon as we're able to actually get this battle started. So, but either way though, and I think, if I recall correctly, I think we are basically take care of the forms of the actual rest of the town. So, but either way, let's go through here, and something tells me about the fact that they're plotting against something. So, either way, yeah, I wonder what the commotion is all about, huh? Well, there's only one way to find out, and here's Johnny! I have no idea why I say things like that. I keep referencing the forms of, I would say The Shining, for instance, that I definitely heard about the film itself, but either way, though, I just have no idea why I referenced that, so. And it looks like they're beginning to formation to each other, as in, oh my lord, what the heck is up with this thing? So this, ladies and gentlemen, which appears to be the next boss fight. So because of this though, as far as I'm aware, this is what I mean about the fact that this particular boss fight is really difficult. Like, it is seriously, without a doubt, the hardest story-based bosses in the game. So for instance, here's the forms of this boss's name, and that's what appears to be Raivuich, I think it's what it says anyway, and he does have 1,500 HP, which is quite more. In addition to that, I think something tells me about the fact that during the forms of, well, in the first phase it might not be too bad, but it's just about the fact that the damage output, especially noticeable when he's trying to pull off some special attacks, my god, it is so much. Well, at least thankfully we got ourselves Princess Toadstool to join in the party, so every once in a while, if we think we're almost gonna die on this fight, specifically for that particular special attack right there that he pulls off, then obviously Peach's group hug special attack will be useful, especially noticeable that will heals up everyone, including Mario and all that stuff. So either way, best to recommend you're able to bring Princess Toadstool with you, because without her, this what brings us to the hardest boss fight in the game. So because of this though, so yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So, oh wow, lucky for Princess Toadstool right there. So that's the way I like it. But either way, and aside from all that stuff though, it's been a very long time since we actually heard this particular boss battle theme music, because as far as I'm aware, the last time we actually heard that music was in I would say, since Injury forms off by the end portion of the Forest Maze, when we're trying to bring the, or take down Bowser, or anything else like that, or Brower, I think that's what it says anyway. So, anyway, now we're on to the next phase of the fight, where, as you can see, he pulls off a double team or something like that. Although, I have no idea why I bring this up as well, but that's just because I keep thinking about one of those moves from Pokemon. So, either way, as you can tell, he now divides into two separate of this guy. And basically, you have to find a real one, and one of them is actually a Mirage. So, meaning about the fact that the Mirage is basically a fake. So, speaking of the Mirage, actually, about the fact that with the Mirage version of him, basically it's about the fact that he does have exactly 500 HP, but if you take him on though, I don't think it gives you anything, so as a result, it doesn't give you coins or experience points. So, ultimately speaking though, you should probably ignore the fake version of him, so go after the real one. Sometimes the only trickiest part about this fight though is that you can't really tell of which one is the real one, because they all have the exact same sprites. And as a result, assuming of course if you try to utilize the special move for Mallow, that basically if you do manage to able to pull off a the actual scanning kind of thing, I'm not exactly sure what that's called because it's been, you know, 3 days ago since I've last played this, but ultimately speaking though, it's about the fact that this is going to be an ultimate challenge so far anyway. So, but either way, although as soon as we get to later fights in the game, they won't be as bad, but relatively speaking, for this fight in general, it's definitely one of the trickiest fights in terms of the story boss fights, so, but I digress. And I think something tells me about the fact that once we're able to retrieve our 5th star piece again, I don't think we can probably able to come across into the 6th star piece anytime soon, until specifically until later on, once we keep on, you know, continue our progressioning for the sake of the forms of trying to able to actually go through new areas and all that stuff, and even certain locales and anything else to be more specific, so. Oh yeah, and something's worth noting for is about the fact that, relatively speaking, what I've found out, during the course of being a Rotten Tomatoes website, what I've noticed for one of those specific stuff, that somehow, for whatever reason, is that Secret Invasion's finale did receive the lowest score for the sake of the forms of, well, in Rotten Tomatoes most likely. So because of that, it receives 8% out of 100, and I was like, okay, I'm a little bit confused by this, especially noticeable about the fact that I just have no idea why that a lot of people don't really care about the forms of certain Marvel TV series as far as this is concerned, for Disney Plus services exclusives as far as this is concerned. Although, it's hard to tell because either way though, at this point in time, the next one we're able to get is the 2nd season of Loki, because that wasn't until it comes out until the 6th of October, if I'm assuming so anyway, so, or perhaps even maybe like, I don't know, a couple of days time, presumably, so, but either way, and, what I've noticed also is about the fact that on the latest, schedule, or the latest article and stuff like that, they did say about the fact that Elemental, you know, with the most recent Pixar film that ever came out, apparently though, they somehow managed to join in with A Bug's Life in terms of the forms of the opening weekend department, as far as I'm concerned, because I believe that Elemental scores, Pixar's lowest opening weekend since A Bug's Life, so because of that though, I've got no words to say, because obviously about the fact that despite that A Bug's Life did came out in 1998, so it's just like the beginning of the actual 3D animation during that specific time, so but either way though, I just got no words about the fact that why Elemental didn't do so well in the opening weekends or something. Wow, I don't know about you, because we still have not seen the film yet, because we're still waiting for that film to come out on Disney Plus, essentially. So I think, if I was assuming so, it will come out on, well, in North America version, might expecting to be releasing on September, or in the UK version, might come out on October for Disney Plus schedule department, but either way, it's kind of difficult to tell, especially concerning about the particular point where, you know, still we have not seen a film yet, so. But I definitely heard some high expectations of it though, but it won't be groundbreaking or anything else like that for what I've noticed. But either way, that must have been said something, so... Anyway, and as far as you might as well know about the fact that during the course of it, not only for Pikmin 1, but also Pikmin 2 on the Switch as well, that's basically about the fact that I've seen the actual article. When it comes to that particular small text you were able to see on Nintendo UK's website, they did say about the fact that those two songs are pretty much not going to be included in these games, obviously, because of how the fact that, well, I just got no words to say. And for certain treasures have been changed in the Mystical Energy series, which means it's a battery brand, and also the forms of Massive Rectangular series, and even Survival series, and Ancient Aid series, and finally Odd Logo series. So that's about it basically when it comes to like a lot of changes between the forms of the original version of the forms of not only for Pikmin 2 on the GameCube, but also on the Wii as well. So anyway, so we've now got ourselves our 5th star piece back. So because of that, no need to worry about the forms of a lot of interruptions, and my god, that battle is pretty tough though, and also very lengthy as well. So yeah, you probably get the idea of how the fact that that boss battle is actually pretty tough though. But at least on the upside is though, it's about the fact that the entire Seaside town has now finally come to its normal state, so that should be all pretty swell. So but either way though, now we can able to actually interact with certain buildings as far as the forms of the Seaside town as far as this is concerned. Like for instance about the fact that we can now able to buy items, and especially noticeable with the forms of accessories, and even take a sleepy time moment during the forms of the inn and stuff like that. So that will be pretty sorted by then, so... And also, as far as you might as well aware, about the fact that Silver is actually getting very, very, very close towards the end of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania before he, well, moved on to the forms of other uploading schedules and all that stuff. I should probably also mention about this as well, is that as far as I don't suppose that you might able to notice, is that once Silver the Hedgehog might able to actually consider finishing off, you know, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, there might be yet another uploading schedule update for the sake of the forms of Sonic Frontiers as well. Although, again, we'll save that particular topic for later. So, but either way though, or perhaps even maybe as it's going to be a super top secret if possible. But either way though, oh man, this music really bops. Like, oh, sorry about that. I just simply keep on getting distracted by the forms of how amazing the soundtrack is. So, which, because of that though, because, well, that's someone who also did the forms of the entire soundtrack of not only the Kingdom Hearts games, but also probably the Mario & Luigi games, if I was assuming so anyway. Well, even then, you might able to actually know who that is, so... But I digress. Oh yeah, and also another thing too, about the fact that, well, I don't suppose if you noticed about the fact that it's been about 5 years ago since when Captain Toad Treasure Tracker has first been released, not only on the Nintendo Switch as a port to the Wii U game, but also on the 3DS version as well. Mind you, I still haven't exactly completely done with the 3DS version yet. That's just because about the fact that the controls might feel a bit cramped for my liking on the 3DS version, but at the very least on the Switch version, while looking back on the Switch version, I had a really good time on the Switch version, despite the awesome, despite with the forms of some quality of life improvements, like for instance about the fact that we can now able to experience the Super Mario Odyssey levels, and the only exception to this though is about the fact that you can't experience Super Mario 3D World levels as far as I'm concerned after the Wii U release of the game. So but either way though, and also what I've noticed on the 3DS version looks a bit weird. So as a result when it comes to the visual presentation, because as far as I'm aware, the Switch version is pretty much identical to the Wii U version, so I guess that's a perfect example of why that we able to actually attempt to do the Switch version back in 2018. And also I really appreciate that the Switch version does include or does contain the DLC, such as the special episode, until in 2019 roll around. So why can't able to actually do any DLCs from any other like Mario games up to this point? Like, you know, Mario Party Superstars or any other games for that matter, but either way, I suppose better selves can't be choosers, I suppose, especially concerning about that particular point where it's been 2 years ago since we've actually got ourselves our full announcement of Mario Party Superstars for the Nintendo Switch, even though I haven't exactly gone back into the game for quite a while. That's just because I've been busy playing for other titles, you know, so... But, yeah, I suppose, in terms of anything else I could possibly explain about this at this point, I think that's as far as I can talk about. Well, aside from the fact that I definitely need able to go back into my Nokia N-Gage at some point. That's just because about the fact that after all we're getting very close towards the end of the entire Super Monkey Ball game series as far as doing Let's Plays are concerned, because even then, that as far as I'm aware, for Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania was technically the 10th Super Monkey Ball Let's Play that we're about to be doing so far out of like 13 or possibly more than that. Especially notable because we also going to be expecting to be able to do the iPhone game, despite the first game was being absent on the actual App Store on the iPhone. Well, I suppose the only option for this point right now is to able to actually access that special emulator, which you can able to actually play backup games on games specifically based off from the 2000s era for the iPhone or something, which I definitely heard about it, but then again though, the settings and the actual configurations is a bit convoluted to able to set it up, so, which I have tried to do, but it's pretty much access denied for my liking, so, oh well, no big deal, but at the very least I'm still looking forward to do presumably Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits if I somehow need to complete that game first off screen. In addition to that, with the forms of maybe a little bit of footage of you know, Sega Superstars as one of those mini games you can able to interact with, and especially noticeable with the forms of Super Monkey Ball on the N-Gage. So I'm not exactly sure about that, whatever that other game modes I was going to be thinking about, because I just don't feel like talking about that anytime soon, so... But that's just the way how I feel about it, so... But anyway, as you can tell about the fact that we can able to actually progress, but ultimately speaking though, we need to backtrack for a bit, because I think something tells me about the fact that we might come across into another Easter egg or something like that, which appears to be located on the forms of, well, Princess Peach's castle, presumably speaking, and from here we can able to actually come across into yet another Nintendo reference, and something tells me that, well, look at that, there's Samus. Samus Aran is laying in a bed. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to able to stumble across into not only Samus Aran, but also with Link as well in one of those other sections. I mean, it will be possible about the fact that I'm not exactly sure if other Nintendo properties will be referenced there, but either way so far we've found one of the references from not only from Metroid, but also with the Legend of Zelda games as well. So, in here though, in the inn, basically you do able to actually stumble across into that particular Toad, townspeople right there, or that particular Toad right there as far as I meant to say. Basically though, as you can tell, we actually brought something from 500 coins. So from here you were able to actually access to a special game. And meaning about the fact that, well, it's just for bragging rights, I guess, even though despite the fact that, relatively speaking, I just want to able to show you guys what that's supposed to be. So either way, we've now got ourselves number 5 right next to our star piece icon. So meaning about the fact that, like I said before, we've only got 2 star pieces left until we basically save the day. So because of this though, I would imagine about the fact that in the actual ending portion of Super Mario RPG, I will be like, so once again, the day is saved, thanks to the forms of Mario and his crew. So, but either way though, I have no idea why I bring that reference to something related to the Powerpuff Girls in each and every single, like, episodes in particular. So, yeah, this is a game right here called Beatlemania. So basically, all you have to really do is to shoot some stuff, and that's essentially all you can do for this point. So because of this though, although if you get hit by the forms of a lot of projectiles or any other enemy encounters or something like that, obviously you do realize there was actually a counter which actually counts up to 3. That means about the fact that you get stunned. So because of that though, if it goes all the way up to 3 for that timer, obviously you're pretty much game over. So because of that, I love the fact that it has the actual familiar background based off from Super Mario World, because obviously about the fact that I think this is based off from I would say Yoshi's Island 2, for the sake of the forms of one of those levels in Super Mario World. So I can imagine about the fact on the Switch remake might able to actually get this treatment, or perhaps even maybe something new. Although, again, we shall find out and wait for that, and during at some point in the later months to come. Especially noticeable because, you know, as I said before, we get to the point we're now going to be slowly approaching onto the next month, which appears to be August. So because of this, though, yeah, you probably get the idea of how that's going to turn out to be. So, although I would expect it able to try to aim for a high score, but I highly doubt, I don't know if I can able to do it, because obviously I'm not very great on the forms of those Galaga kind of shooting games or something like that, although I have tried, but most of the time I'm incredibly useless at it. So because of this though, not knowing the strategy, although I don't think you're able to actually get a special reward if you beat the high score, so maybe I keep thinking of something related to the WarioWare stuff. So but either way though, I have no idea why I somehow bring this up, so but I suppose that's pretty much about it for the most part, I guess anyway, for the sake of the Mushroom Kingdom location as of now. So either way though, I suppose we can now able to actually continue our adventure of any sort to able to actually get into the next location. So but either way though, although sometimes the actual process of getting to the actual point might take a bit of while, especially noticeable with certain amount of enemy encounters that we have to pull this off. So but either way though, I apologize if my commentary is a little bit iffy at this point once again, because aside from that, that's what I can really say about the forms of today's discussion. Although, then again, I would have liked able to explain something else, but honestly, I have got no words. So, anyway, with that being said though, I think we should probably end things off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario RPG, The Legend of the Seven Stars. That's what appears to be about the fact that we're going to be exploring onto Land's End. So, yeah, we're getting very close towards the end of the game, folks. So I'll see you guys until God knows when. Later, fellas.